Hey guys, to help run the forums, host the website, and travel, we've introduced a universal service fee for in-depth coverage, including this video. My goal is to be unbiased and transparent. It's a privilege to serve you. This is not an endorsement. Let's get into it. Hey guys, got a special one for you today. Beautiful area. It's a courthouse over here, and this is the Salt Lake City and County building. It's just been such a fun day of riding, and we're looking at the Magnum R2 Conversion Kit, and it's the same kit on both of these bikes. Comes with a 500 watt, 700 watt peak planetary geared hub motor from Das Kit, and a 48 volt, 13 amp hour, 624 watt hour rear rack mounted battery. And it comes with this nice rear rack with pannier blocker. There's a little notch here if you want to use bungee cables. It's standard weight rating of 25 kilograms, which is roughly 55 pounds. Pretty nice. There's even a mounting point here if you wanted to add some lights, and it's got a big reflector built in the back from Cat Eye. So, you know, having reviewed a lot of Magnum's other purpose-built electric bikes, this is very familiar. Like the nice display. This is C6. They do have C7 as well. Has a couple more features, but easy to read. Swivels, so you can reduce the glare. We've got that remote button pad, easy to reach. And the kit includes this awesome Das Kit throttle. See how narrow it is? I really love that because it means that your brake levers aren't going to get scooted way in and be hard to reach. Same thing with the trigger shifter. So this is like one of my favorite trigger throttles out there. And for a bike like this over here, this one's more of a mountain bike, kind of a trail bike with a front suspension. They didn't use the included mechanical brake levers. This one, they just kept the hydraulic levers. It's not going to have motor inhibitors this way, but hydraulic brakes, you know, they're a little bit smoother, they're a little bit higher quality, and you can handle kind of fighting the motor, which could happen. You know, you could be pedaling, activating pedal assist, or even using the throttle, and you'd end up kind of fighting it with the disc brake. But you know, that's the trade-off, I guess. They don't have a hydraulic lever. I've seen them on some electric bikes, but I guess that would boost the price of the kit. And so coming back over here to the display, you'll notice there are a couple things that are unplugged. They just aren't being used. What is being used here is the control pad to change your level of assist. And you'll notice on this one, they didn't include the throttle. They've probably got this set up as a class 1 electric bike so that it would be legal on more trails, like mountain bike trails and stuff. Whereas this one, it's set up more like a commuter. It technically is a speed pedelec. You can get this going up to about 25 miles per hour. You don't have to. You can lower it to 20 miles per hour. But some people like to go a little bit faster, especially if you're riding with traffic and you kind of want to hold your own and keep up, or just make it home faster. You know, if you've got a long commute, it's nice to be able to do that. And that is legal in most places on the side of the road. Now, certain bike paths and things have different laws, and it's really kind of a local legal system that you're going to be learning about and trying to comply with. But in a way, this kit is really versatile because it could be class 2 with a throttle. You could remove the throttle like we did over there and make it class 1. And if you keep it at the higher top speed, well, that's class 3. So I like that. And really, I love that the motor is mounted into the rear wheel. It's a little bit more complex this way. You'll notice there's a quick release on this front wheel, and there's not a whole lot of wires. The rear wheels, you get better traction because more of your body weight is towards the back, and the kit with the battery and everything. But then you have to deal with like the cassette and, you know, the derailleur. There's an extra cable right here for the derailleur. So it gets a little bit more crowded, but that's the right way to do it. And again, if you got a flat tire, there's just more work taking it off and servicing that. So you can see there's a 12 millimeter threaded axle with 9.8 millimeter flats, and that would just notch right up into a vertical dropout, which is what we've got here. And these are 19 millimeter bolts. It's pretty standard, you know, if you've looked at electric bikes closely, at least hub motor designs. And there's the bolt on the other side. You really want to make sure that this is lined up right and tightened down because it's a pretty high power motor. It's up to 90 Newton meters of torque, and that's going to be pushing against the aluminum alloy frame with these dropouts. Like you could imagine if this motor was not there and we'd taken the wheel off, you'd see like a slot. And so this bolt, it kind of slides up into that notch, and that's why you've got these flats. So that flat section is what's pushing against the frame, and over time it can kind of rock and sort of, you know, damage the frame a little bit unless you have it tightened properly. So you just want to do a good job with this kit. And one of the great things about Magnum is that they've got a ton of dealers, like all over the United States, Canada, and in parts of Europe, like kind of Israel and New Zealand. They've got a good warranty on all their stuff, 1-year comprehensive. And a kit like this, you know, if you have a bike that you like the color, you like the style, or you're just into recycling, it's only $1,099, so roughly 1,100 bucks for this kit with the battery, high capacity, the motor, and all those different settings, which to me is a great deal. Now, one of the trade-offs is that it's rear rack mounted. Ideally, you'd want the battery low and center on the frame, and indeed, that is how most of their purpose-built electric bikes are set up. But, you know, you do get a rack that can be used for more than just the battery. So for commuters and stuff, having a pannier, having a trunk bag, it's workable. Now, the trade-off of having that weight back there, it's not just that the bike is rear heavy, which can make it kind of difficult to, you know, carry upstairs or hang off of car racks and stuff. In that case, you can just slide the battery off. The battery weighs about 9.4 pounds. I was weighing it earlier. Take that off, and then the bike becomes a lot more manageable. But when you're actually riding, there's a little bit of frame flex and kind of a crack the whip. Like, this is a bolt-on rack, and you can see how adjustable it is, adjustable height, and then these seat stay adapters right here. There's some length adjustments that can happen, so it can be leveled. They've done a really good job with these. They look nice, but it's still, there's just a little bit more flex back there. So when I was riding, I was really like kind of turning the bike and kind of putting it through its paces, and I did notice there was a little bit of that frame flex happening. So I just want to be honest with you about that I've experienced it, and it's something that is going to be a trade-off. It's one of the compromises when you do a kit. The other compromise is there are kits out there that have a mid-mounted battery, but then you lose these bottle cage bosses and stuff, and in almost all cases you end up with all these extra wires. You know, and they've done a good job, because obviously this is a demo bike and we're shooting a review, and they had it prepped for me, but you know, installing a kit like this can take some time, and you're going to have some extra zip ties and extra black wires running around. A lot of times they tend to look nice on black frames because the cables, you know, they don't show up as much against the black paint. So I want to call that out. I want to be fair. I have built kit e-bikes myself in the past, and it takes some effort. It takes some effort. There's definitely some doing. You might end up having to pay a dealer to adjust it, or maybe even install it if it's the Magnum shop. But I think that's one of the benefits of having a shop that's experienced with this, that's going to be able to service the warranty, maybe get you a replacement battery pack, which I believe are about $550 down the line. It kind of is what it is. You know, this is one of the better options in terms of support and quality, I think. DOS Kit is one of my favorite hub motor battery display manufacturers, because they've been around so long, and they've really, you know, paid attention to those details and gotten things right. So anyway, with a planetary geared hub motor like this, you are going to get a little bit more of a zzz, kind of a zipping sound, because it's geared, but it's going to freewheel super smooth. There's no drag, unlike a planetary, well, a gearless motor doesn't have the gears inside. You might think, well, that's great, there's no rubbing, but it does have magnetic drag, and they tend to be wider and heavier. So this weighs like 10.1 pounds. This is 9.4 pounds. Then you got the rack, then you got the display and the brake levers. So we're looking at 21.5, 22 pounds of additional weight. So if you weigh your bike, a lot of bikes weigh 25 pounds. You know, we'll kind of call that average. This one doesn't have a suspension fork, so it's going to be a little bit lighter. So, you know, 25 pounds plus another 20-ish pounds, 45, 50-pound e-bike. That's pretty much what you find with purpose-built e-bikes. It's just that the wires are routed a little bit nicer. The batteries might be bolted to the frame, or even semi-integrated. A lot of the Magnum batteries are like sunk into that down tube, which is nice. So the other thing that's cool about this kit is that it comes in multiple wheel sizes. So this is a 700C by 38C, so that's roughly 29-inch wheel diameter. Whereas this one over here, 27.5, okay? So it's a little bit smaller, and they also sell it in 26. So that's all the major wheel sizes. And I like that their rim, see this rim back here compared to that one? You notice any differences? This one has these reinforcement eyelets that gives it extra strength. And it's got these nice 13 gauge spokes versus, I think these are 14. They're a little bit narrower. Those ones are black, these ones are silver. So there's little things. It does not come with the tire. You basically use the tire that came with the bike. So you can see they match here. These are both Maxxis. So yeah, that's another thing. At some point, if you ever want to take the drive motor off and just ride it like a regular bike to reduce the weight, I mean, you certainly can ride this. You could take the battery off and it'd be just fine. It freewheels. But you are going to have that extra weight. If you ever want to swap back to your other wheel, there's just some more effort involved in kind of swapping the tire back and everything. So I want to be clear about that. There are, I think, 36 holes on this as well. So it's a pretty beefy spoke pattern, and it's been working just fine for me on these rides. You also notice that it's a machine sidewall. I should point that out. See how this is silver right here on the side, whereas this one's black? Machine sidewalls are designed to work with caliper brakes, like linear pull brakes, V brakes, sometimes what they're called. So in this case, we got a disc brake, doesn't matter. But on this bike over here, we do have V brakes or linear pull brakes, and so those pads are pushing right against the sidewall. So see this front rim, it looks slightly different, doesn't have a line down the middle, whereas this one does. That's the difference. So when you step back, you kind of like, oh yeah, it looks like it's meant to be that way. But when you really zoom in, there are those little trade-offs. Those are some of the minor aesthetic compromises that you're gonna end up making. But again, not the end of the world. Certainly better than a lot of kits that I've seen. I like that there's an off and on switch on the battery, so you can keep people from tampering with it if you just park real quickly and if they're messing with the buttons up there. Also, if you're storing it for a long period of time, that's going to reduce phantom power draw. It's just nice to have that. It's like an extra fuse. The controller is built right up into the front part of this box, and if we unlock the battery like this, you can slide it out. See, there's a nice track and it kind of plugs in. There it is. 48 volt, 13 amp hours. It's got an aluminum alloy casing. It's pretty nice. And then there's the little charging port. This is the charger. It's 2 amps, which is kind of standard, sort of basic. It's not the fastest charger, but it's fairly lightweight. Weighs about 1.5 pounds. It's going to be easy to put into a trunk bag or something like that. You can see some extra screws right there to help sort of mount this and secure it really well. And then, you know, if you are someone who lives in an environment like Salt Lake City where it can be really hot sometimes, there we go, make sure I got this right. There we go. Make sure we lock it back into place so the battery doesn't slide out. If you live somewhere like Salt Lake City, you know, it's kind of a hot day, and if you park the bike out all day, or maybe it's in a garage or something and it gets really hot, that's hard on those battery cells. So it's a good idea to take that off and maybe store it separately or keep it charged. You want to keep the battery between 20 and 80% so it doesn't get extreme on either end. It's kind of stressing the cells. They are using Samsung, LG, or Panasonic, so nice high quality lithium ion cells in there. If you live somewhere where it's cold, again, Salt Lake City in the winter time, let's say you leave this in your garage, you know, and it's charged up, but it's a cold morning, you're not going to get the same range because the cold definitely affects that part of lithium ion batteries. It limits the kind of the draw. So now that the battery pack is mounted and turned on, I'm going to press the power button here on the button pad. Fairly reachable. Well, you know what? There we go. I think I turned it off before we removed it, which is also a good policy. So there we go. It boots up. We got a power meter here on the left. It's going to rise and fall depending on how hard that motor is working. Pedal assist level, it starts in 1, and the throttle is always hot, which I like. You can override pedal assist and you can get started easily with that. It's really nice, but it's a little bit more advanced. This is like, you know, potentially, if you aren't on the bike and you bump that, the bike's going to take off, and it is a powerful motor, so just act responsibly with that. Pedal assist 0, basically, you know, no power, but you do have this nice display. It would tell you how fast you're going, odometer, trip meter, trip 1, trip 2 actually, so they have 2 menus, and if we press set, it cycles through, even has a trip timer, so it's a pretty nice display. And then battery voltage and the charge level indicator with 5 ticks. 5 ticks to me is kind of a compromise. It's like, it'd be nice if there were 10 ticks, you know, it'd be nice if there was a percentage, but for such a nice big display like this, it kind of gets the job done and fairly reachable. This is also a fairly narrow mounting design, which I like, because again, the brake levers, we don't want to push them in. No USB ports on the battery pack or the display, which is too bad. It'd be nice if you were mounting your phone or a light or something to tap into that big battery, but that's just kind of how they got it set up. And then down here, that is the 12 magnet cadence sensor, and you can see that little red LED right there on that arm. That's the actual electronic sensor, and it measures as these magnets pass by. 12 magnets, that's pretty high resolution. And this sensor, it's got that big silver metal bracket on the outside that holds it on, so you don't actually have to take your crank arms off to install this kit, which is such a relief. It's a lot of work and it requires some special tools. So this kit's a little bit easier to install, but it can get bumped out of position. Like, in fact, on our way over here, it wasn't reading quite right. So we had to pull over and make sure that this was adjusted and just kind of you know, actually reading those magnets. And you see this disc, it can kind of get bumped out of position a little bit over time or get dirty. So the new magnet sensors, they're all kind of sealed. They're a lot smaller. And again, you get those on purpose-built electric bikes. So that's why I tend to stick to those. I don't review kits very often, but being in a place where you have dealer support and a lot of different options for wheel sizes, it's worth calling out because it is an affordable and sort of reuse, you know, reduce, reuse, recycle kind of an approach if you have a frame that you really like. So with that said, I'm gonna hop on this one and just circle around. I like that the display also circles around, so if I press minus, it goes all the way up to 6. I don't have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus, 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 plus. I could just, you circle around. But there are times where I get excited and I'm like, I want the most power, and I'm plus, 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 and then I'm at 0, and I'm like, it throws me off a little bit. So here we go, I'm gonna start pedaling and I'll show you guys the motor. Pretty responsive, kind of what you'd expect. This is kind of the best of the old generation technology. It's not a torque sensor, it's not a multi-sensor, but it is 12 magnets. It is easy to install. The motor's powerful. It's pretty quiet for a geared hub motor and pretty reliable. There we go, we're up to 19, 20, 21. You can see, gets to be a little bit fast with the one-handed camera setup like this, but yeah, that 25 mile per hour top speed could be nice for those people who are just wanting to go a little faster for fun or for commuting purposes. Okay guys, normally I have you facing the other direction because I'm talking about the derailleur and the drivetrain, but that's going to be different for every bike. So in this case, I wanted to show you that 12 magnet cadence sensor and just, you know, let you sense and listen for my pedaling and then how quickly that motor responds and also how loud the motor is. I have it in the highest level of assist, level 6. So this is as loud as it's ever going to be. I'm going to start off with the throttle just to kind of ramp up. And again, nice to have full power with that throttle at any level of assist. And that's cool because you could be at an efficient level 2, you know, saving energy, getting exercise, and then see someone you need to catch up with or maybe a hill you need to climb. You can zip up to speed with that throttle. So that's my favorite setup. And again, back here, nice 500 watt. That's the nominal 700 watt peak. It's a pretty good motor in terms of the balance of weight to power ratio, 90 Newton meters. Just make sure it's set up right, it's attached securely so you don't damage your frame. Very nice. Yeah, it's performing just as expected. This is good. I think that's about it, you guys. I always do my best to be thorough, try to help guide and answer questions, but all these specs and a full written review is back at ElectricBikeReview.com, along with a comparison tool so you can see some other kits or some of the other Magnum purpose-built bikes and kind of weigh your options. Like, well, for another, you know, $600-700, I could buy a fully built bike, or, you know, what's it going to take to build this? What are the considerations? How reliable is it going to be? I think it is pretty reliable, but again, that rear rack thing, like it's you know, I'm trying to demonstrate there's a little bit of wiggle. You know, it's kind of hard to do, but this is the best case scenario where we have a high step, you know, sturdy triangle right here. It's not a step through. Yeah, that weight's up high. It's really far back. That's not ideal for handling, but it's also not a deal breaker. You know, gets the job done. So I hope you guys have fun out there. Love ya, ride safe, and we'll see you next time.